Hello, Guyana. From the beginning, I promised that science, statistics, best practices from across the world, realities in Guyana, and our paramount duty to serve the best interests of our children would inform all decisions we take regarding schooling and COVID-19. President Irfan Ali is deeply concerned about the effect of COVID on our children's education and well-being in the short, medium, and long term. His Excellency asked me early on for an urgent, practical plan on the way forward for students. Over the last week, I met and consulted with all stakeholders to consider the way forward for the delivery of the curriculum in the Christmas term and possibly going forward. We learned and became aware that most students have not been academically engaged in a structured manner from March to now. We've been told of the tremendous loss of income, of families, and of the worry of parents, teachers, and community leaders that this will result in premature school leaving or dropouts, with students not completing their education. We know that learning loss is a real possibility that could cause us to squander significant gains as a country, but more importantly, that could easily result in lifelong and irreversible damage to the opportunities for all our affected children. We know that children are writing regional and other examinations or assessments, and we have a duty to do all we can to ensure their maximum readiness for those exams. We also know that we must keep our teachers, children, and their families safe. How then would we balance the urgent need to have a rapid, sensible, coordinated national approach to delivering education with keeping our children and teachers safe was the burning question that confronted us. For the safe face-to-face reopening of schools, we need to know epidemiological patterns. We need to have masks for students and teachers, to have hand-washing facilities and clean schools. And we need to have the ability to practice social distancing and to benefit from mass public education about safety practices. The truth is, there was little or no decisive and/or coordinated approach to achieving that balance of delivering education and doing so safely. Actions that were needed in the months our schools were closed were not taken in their entirety or at all. This is our reality. We therefore cannot reopen schools on September 7th, 2020, as was previously scheduled. All schools shall remain closed to face-to-face teaching for the month of September, while we continue to review and evaluate the evolution of the disease and our schools' readiness. The government does not believe, however, that the inability to reopen schools physically necessarily means the inability to deliver education otherwise. We are aware that some parents, teachers, and schools have engaged their children academically by various means, and we roundly applaud and are deeply grateful for those efforts. We encourage all to continue to do this where possible from as early as possible. And if you need help doing that, let us know. Going forward, we know that no single approach will provide regular and effective learning opportunities to our children across the regions and across the grades. We will therefore have to use blended, multifaceted learning approaches in the coming months. We will have to tailor our approach based on the epidemiological patterns, physical spacing, internet connectivity, television reception, teacher availability, and I'm really only naming a few of the considerations we'll have to have. To this end, we are working with the Ministry of Health to urgently develop a safety protocol for schools across the country. And we're actively and dedicatedly pursuing getting our schools physically ready. We're developing relevant curriculum content for delivery on the Learning Channel and are working to actually get the channel broadcasting widely in geographical areas where it has stopped broadcasting or has never broadcast before. We're working to deliver education on the internet, and we're developing learning kits and packages with print and other material to develop specific categories, to deliver to specific categories of students. We're also going to be retraining our teachers as far as we can to deliver education differently. Once we begin face-to-face schooling, we may have to adjust our school term, and we may have to have an extended school week, and we may have to do rotations of students and teachers. These are all matters we're still examining, albeit with urgency. We will let you know as we make those important decisions. To be clear, We hope and intend to be ready with some of these initiatives as early as the second week of September so that most students can thereafter be actively engaged. Circumstances may change depending on the evolution of COVID-19, but our commitment to providing regular and effective learning opportunities continuously from here going forward will not. We intend to use this pandemic period as an opportunity to begin to deliver education differently, more effectively and equitably. The world is now looking at mass delivery of education through various means. Guyana, however, you may be comforted to know, had that foresight, that vision for a while now, and began implementing that with the commissioning of the Learning Channel and the distribution of laptops to every household. Here's what President Jagdeo, as he then was, said, not last week, but on the 2nd of July 2011, when he launched the Learning Channel, and I quote, "Just imagine an Amerindian village being able, with one television set in the school, to see the best math or science teacher in our country, taking them through equations in that village," end quote. Such was the vision, the aptitude, the practical and caring application of our resources with a view to delivering equitable and quality education when there was no COVID-19. We have the will to meet our children's needs. We must all dedicate ourselves to finding ways to give effect to that will. Our children deserve nothing less.